Hi, I'm Jill Gostin, the IEEE Region 3 Director. I hope you find these volunteer resources useful and informative. This is one of several modules which provide training and informational resources for individuals serving in volunteer roles at the IEEE region, section, and chapter level. In 2020, our annual Region 3 conference had to be canceled due to COVID-19. Because of that, we quickly decided to go virtual. We held WebEx meetings to provide the training and information that was to be given to volunteers at the conference, and we recorded those sessions. These recorded modules created the foundation for our IEEE Region 3 Volunteers YouTube channel. The value of these recorded modules has become very evident, so we will continue to build on what is offered here. If you have suggestions for additional content, please leave a request in the comments below.
All right, thank you, Jill and Bill for setting this up. It's been a good sequence of events for past, I guess, 4 weeks now, right? So, and enjoyed participating in those meetings. And hopefully the information provided tonight will be informative, and maybe it'll make you go back. Everyone's over here that is thinking about hosting a conference may go back and scratch their head and say, all right, how do I get engaged? All right, this is a presentation on the conference committee. This is Eric Gregorian. For those who do not know me, I'm based out of Huntsville. I'm the Region 3 Conference Committee Chair. I hosted the IEEE Conference SoutheastCon in Huntsville in 2008 and then in 2019. Just going through, basically going through the charts. So this is an extract from the Region 3 Operations Manual. I took this, I followed kind of a Bill's, I guess, lead on this one. He did that last time and put information. The region, hold on. You guys hear me? My VPN just disconnected. As part of the Region 3 Operations Manual, there's two particular sections that addresses the conference committee and conference committee activities. Article 5.2 says the conference committee shall facilitate effective and timely conference planning and execution in the region, especially SoutheastCon. And then Article 6 talks about SoutheastCon Technical Conference and Exhibition is held for technical and professional development of Region 3 members as specified in the Region 3 bylaws. The Region 3 Student Conference may be held concurrently. SoutheastCon will be moved around the region to provide opportunity for all region entities to serve as hosts or co-hosts. If you've been involved and have been participating in Region 3 activities, you've realized that we've hosted this conference quite a few places. We try to move it around, and in almost all cases, the SoutheastCon is actually a three-pronged approach to conference. It's an administrative conference where the Region 3 has their meetings, administrative meetings, and with the section chairs and so forth. It is a technical committee, a technical conference, because we've got authors that publish, and we've got participation from authors from all different states and internationally. And then on top of that, it's a place where we try to bring the students in and create a spirit of competitiveness between the different universities within the region. On top of that, we try to promote STEM activities for K through 12. So that's also, we're looking at pre-college type activities to bring and promote engineering to the younger generation. So the membership of the committees basically includes a conference chair. Again, this is again from the conference manual, the conference chair, the vice chair, the delegate or the director-elect is a member, the past conference conference host chairs and the future conference chairs are part of the membership. The Region 3 Treasurer is part of it. The Student Activities Chair is a member of it. And past delegate directors, serve as a mentor. There's also potential for a staff member from IEEE headquarters that deals with conferences to be on the committee, but they're a non-voting member. And we have started meeting, the conference committees start to meet on a monthly basis to go through their activities planning for future efforts. So responsibility of the conference committee is, again, extract from Region 3, is that, encourage Region 3 organizational units to provide conferences to meet the specialized interests of the members. Solicit invitations from sections in Region 3 to host SoutheastCon in accordance with the Region 3 SoutheastCon manual. Found an error. I guess we need to update the operations manual, but it's really SoutheastCon operations manual. And that was just released just recently. Maintain a library of accumulated experience of region-related to conference to help ensure the success of future conferences. There is a lot of memory and history within the conference committee and the folks that are part of the conference committee, and they are there to assist folks with hosting a news conference and help make it a success. Basically review the effectiveness of the conferences sponsored by Region 3 organizational units and make recommendations for improvements, which is always the case. We always like to take lessons learned and improve next conference based on issues that we have identified or make the conference better. Case in point is this year. This year was actually the first time that we were hit with canceling a conference due to a pandemic. So, but ended up having an effective conference no matter what, because the technical portion of the conference was able to be successful and continue on. And we've learned quite a bit of lessons in terms of how to host virtual conferences, and we're going to take that lessons learned and apply it for future conferences. Additionally, give assistance in the negotiation of contracts for service. The conference committee helps the local sections or local hosting sections to identify venues, look at the hotels, come up with required agreements, identify key items that are needed by the venue to support a large conference just like SoutheastCon. Hello? Was there a question? All right. Sorry. And also help negotiate the contracts. Now the full contract negotiations really happens at the IEEE headquarters. But there's quite a bit of legwork that gets done beforehand, and the conference committee is there to help out. Basically provide support for Region 3 conference, including sub-operation units for a focus in SoutheastCon, and maintain the IEEE Region 3 SoutheastCon manual. All right. Again, SoutheastCon operations manual. So why host the SoutheastCon? It is really important to be able to figure out how to engage your local members. The section that hosts the conference usually gets a windfall of quite a bit of participation by the local membership. There's definitely participation from the Region 3, from perspective of administrative aspect of it, and representation by sections within the region. And then on top of that, you've got authors that come into the city to make a presentation for their technical paper. But the rest of and then the schools come in. But there's quite a potential in terms of getting the local community, local organizations, local companies to be a big participant, and that basically helps revive a local section. It also provides, potential volunteers, identify potential volunteers that can help out the section, not only for the hosting the conference, but also be participant in the future activities of that section post hosting the conference. Also provides members who want to be engaged and take a leadership role or mentorship role to be engaged with the with the local community and the local section. As I said, it expands your visibility to the local community. It increases visibility regionally, depending on how well and how successful you are in hosting the conference. It also provides, and we had this happen to us in both in 2008 and 2019, allows us to engage with other technical societies within the area. Huntsville has a large technical community, so we're blessed from that perspective. But that also provides us the capability to also interact with a lot of other technical communities and collaborate and engage. SWE had a big activity during 2019. We had participation by AIAA. So they helped us host the indoor drone competition. So those are the kind of things that allows you to bring other societies and engage with your section activities. It provides, student allows for increase in student membership, particularly because a hosting city or hosting section has to have a dependent student chapter that can help with the student activities. And as a result, when you try to host a conference, you've got to go ahead and build the student chapter to a point that they'll have enough individuals from their student section or even from the university to help as volunteers during the conference. Usually the city that hosts or the section that hosts the conference cannot participate in any of the student activities. So as a return, they get involved in a lot of volunteer activities and support running the conference. It definitely provides a capability to engage the young professionals, folks that have already left the, graduated from the university, they're in their local section area, get them pulled in, get them involved with the activities at IEEE, from technical aspect of it and participation with some of the student activities too, in terms of mentoring. Provide a capability to engage K through 12 STEM. That's key for next generation, bringing the future engineers in. And on top of it, it could be a really good source of revenue to the hosting section or council, right? So when I say section, it could be section or council that can be engaged involving with hosting a conference. It all depends on your geographical location and how the structure is for that sub-OU. Any questions so far?
None so far, Eric.
All right. So, IEEE Conference Committee, right? So, really, the tagline for this chart is right on top, right? You don't have to do it on your own. The conference committee is here to mentor and support. If you're interested in hosting a conference, don't be shy. Approach us, ask us. We can help you out in figuring out what needs to be done to host a conference, right? We are basically a liaison between the region, XCOM, and the sections for SoutheastCon. The region is basically, it provides a financial co-sponsorship. They set up the seed money for the conference, and basically the conference committee provides a continuity of knowledge for hosting a successful conference. Right, we involve in the instead of initiating activities to expand, region-sponsored conferences beyond SoutheastCon. We are looking for other activities besides SoutheastCon. We're trying to make this this region stand out in terms of the capability to host and bring technical content to our membership within the region, and also promote our region, with respect to all other regions. So we're looking at having other venues besides SoutheastCon, not to compete with SoutheastCon, but have venues that could potentially be of a technical content that way provides folks to publish in advance of SoutheastCon or post SoutheastCon. Mentoring, mentioned again, provide mentoring throughout to host a conference. And we've got plenty of folks, Charles Lord, Sean Haynes, myself, uh, Jim Conrad. The folks that are on these on the conference committee have been engaged and involved with conferences and have hosts of knowledge. So we want to transfer this knowledge to new blood, new folks, and folks that can go ahead and carry on the torch to hold the conference. We're out there to help resolve conflicts, particularly when it comes to some of the student competitions potentially, or if there's any issues in terms of the contractual agreements. We can provide recommendations for services and help with the startup. So talked about it quite a bit. So this is your current 2020 conference committee members. You've got me as a chair, Glenn Parker out of Huntsville section. He's a vice chair. Teresa Bernardo, she's a director-elect. So she'll take over in 2022, right? If I'm not mistaken. Past conference committee chair and mentor is Sean Haynes. He's also been involved with hosting a couple of conferences, so he's got a wealth of knowledge, and he was a past conference committee chair. Our SAC student activity chair is Victor Besantes. Conference operations specialist Charles Lord. He is one hardworking individual. He's out there always to help out. Our treasurer John Balsam. Key person to know when it comes to finances. Our former regional director, Jim Conrad, he's also been involved with hosting conferences, so he's a wealth. SoutheastCon 2019, we've got Glenn Parker. 2020, that was in, I guess, this year in Raleigh, it was Prague. 2021 is Wyman Williams in Atlanta. 2022 is Julia Kirkichi, and she's in Mobile. So we've already got 21 and 22, and actually 23 identified. I should have added a 23 in there too. So we've got the next 3 years already identified for in terms of the SoutheastCon conferences. So how to request hosting a SoutheastCon, right? So this is something that you've got to figure out on your own if you're interested. If there's a section out there that has not hosted, and I'm going to put a map in the next chart, but if you're interested in hosting, all you have to do is just notify us of your intent that you're interested in hosting the conference. We are definitely looking for, we're forward looking. We're trying to make sure that we have slate of conferences already identified for the next 3, 4, 5 years. That is very good because that provides a good, healthy pipeline of conferences that have already been identified and have been set in stone. So that also allows the conference committee to start concentrating on our activities to make it better for everyone. So the region will, if you're interested, then the region will get engaged. We'll start reviewing the location. We'll work with the section for potential sites that could be large enough to host a conference. We're kind of unique because we have to have enough conference rooms to host a technical session. There needs to be a large area to host all the student competitions. And then there has to be sufficient room and facilities available for hosting the region meetings. On top of that, SoutheastCon hosts the award ceremony. So there's a banquet associated with it. So there has to be large enough banquet rooms that accommodate 600 plus participants. So anyway, so region can work with the host of the section that's interested in hosting and identifying the venue and what needs to be worked out. We'll work with section to perform logistics for site selection. We'll help with the registration logistics. We'll provide mentorship. And what I expect that the conference committee is interested from local section is that have a good, solid, and organized committee that includes a chair, potentially a vice chair, treasurer, programs chair, technical programs chair, and the students program chairs. Those are the bare minimum, and a secretary, that should be added in there too. Those are the bare minimum requirements to for organizing committee to identify. The local chapter should also, or section should also, or council should be able to engage with the student chapter and make sure that the student chapter is healthy and they're having a good number of students that can participate and help as volunteers. And then have the capacity for folks to have local volunteers at conference time. And on the competition side, for student competitions, the local section is responsible for the hardware competition, the robotics hardware competition, the software, and any additional locally developed competition. As I mentioned earlier on, in 2019, we introduced an indoor drone. We had a larger facility that we could actually bring in a brand new competition and introduce it to the conference SoutheastCon. So that's what we did in 2019. 2 years before that, there was a hackathon. So the local sections can do, the hosting sections can come up with various other competitions that they want to introduce, but at a minimum, they're responsible for the student hardware competition and the software competition. The region, on the other hand, with the assistance from the SAC, Student Activities Chair, will be responsible for the student paper, ethics, networking, T-shirt, and website competition. So they'll handle those types of events. And if you're interested, it really requires a 3-year commitment from the organizing committee. So that's 3 years, is basically 2 years prior to conference, the year of the conference. So that's how we look at commitments on that one. Questions so far?
None so far, Eric.
All right, how am I doing on time?
You're doing pretty well. It's 8:25, so you've got 5 more.
All right, so this is basically the items in yellow is where SoutheastCon footprint is. I mean, the region 3 footprint is. And as you can see with the map all around, it's all the different locations that conferences have been held. There are several locations that have hosted the conference only once. So if you're on the call today and you're participating, we really like to get you engaged and pony up and get involved with the hosting SoutheastCon again. We've held it in Huntsville 3 times. Orlando or Miami has held it twice. Charlotte has held it 3 times. Raleigh 3 times. So there's a few out there. Tampa has had it 3 times. So we're looking for sections or councils that are ready to jump in and host. We also have Jamaica, but I think what we're going to, the Jamaica has been we had a successful conference in Jamaica back in 2003, and we'd like to go back to Jamaica for either some sort of SoutheastCon or some sort of technical conference in very, very near future. So Jamaica is very important. We like to make sure that they're included in the conferences. Operations I'll just quickly go through this. It's specific to SoutheastCon on how to host the conference. It's a living document. It was in the draft mode for quite some time. So when I became chair of the conference committee, one of the first things I wanted to make sure it would get done was to complete that and release that document. My goal was to have it done by the day we left out of Raleigh, but due to the COVID and not having the conference successfully not having the conference in Raleigh, it was successful, but not having it over there caused some issues. But at the end, we were able to go ahead and with the approval of the Region 3 XCOM in the Region 3, we released that manual on April 20th. So that document is available. It's available if you're interested. That should be already on the region site or website. If it's not, I'll follow up. But if you need to see a copy of the operations manual, please get in touch with me. My email's coming up, and then I'll forward it to you. Other conferences we want to host is, as I mentioned before, technical conferences, technical e-conferences, workshops, e-workshops, tutorials. We're open to suggestions. It is not intended to compete with SoutheastCon. We just want to provide additional capabilities to promote the region and provide a technical venue. It's going to be probably if SoutheastCons are usually on spring, so we'll try to host this technical venue in the fall timeframe, so that there's no conflicts. So basically, the conference committee is open for business and accepting requests from any of the sections or council who are interested in hosting SoutheastCon. We have two potential cities that they have showed interest that they would like to host 2024 and 2025, but we have to look at other venues too, because we want to be able to move the conference around to areas that have not hosted a conference before. So please go back, talk to your section or your council, and let us know if you're interested in hosting the SoutheastCon in 24 or 25. Besides that, thank you for listening to me, and that's my email. You can reach me at that email.
There are 2 questions posted. Do you see them, or do you want me to read them to you?
I do not see them.
Okay, so the first one is from Glenn Parker.
Yep.
He asks, is there an intent to standardize processes such as registration, paper submission, and technical session scheduling management? These can change a lot from year to year.
So the answer is we were trying to standardize it. We do have a standard tool for the registration process. What was the other ones?
So that was registration, paper submission.
Paper submission, yes. So we're trying to use a single tool for both registration and we used XCD in the past. XCD was used for the past 3 or 4 conferences, SoutheastCon. Starting in 2021, the conference committee, the hosting committee has selected EDAS as the registration and the paper submission tool. So we're going to start evaluating other tools for conference registrations and papers.
Okay. The other questions from Dave Green, and then once we get done with this, we'll pass things over to Jacqueline and her team. It's from Dave Green. Are there any conference-like events you could recommend for a section that could be done this year?
That could be done this year. Fortunately, well, there are potential. We could use some technical conferences, but nothing in reality. No, I have not identified anything yet.
All right. All right. Thank you, Eric. And Demuth did want to put a comment in there that you can probably see, thanking you for mentioning Jamaica.
Yep, and I just thank for everyone participation. And we do have actually, in response to Dave, there is a venue that we think that we have for maybe next year.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Cunningham. I'm chair of the Professional Activities Committee for Region 3, and the entire Professional Activities Committee is online, so we can take your calls, your questions tonight. And without further ado, here's our agenda for what we'd like to present this evening. We want to talk a little bit about the R3 Professional Activities Committee, our roles, members, and responsibilities. And then I'm going to pose a question to you to reimagine PAC and PACE. And we're going to talk about qualifying activities and funding, the funding process, our current status, and then we're going to take your questions and we're going to attempt to answer them all at the end. And so if you don't mind just posting your questions in the chat stream, and we'll tackle them at the end of the presentation. I'm so happy to have you all aboard tonight. And about the R3 PAC committee, We are, again, Jacqueline Cunningham is chair, and I am your coordinator in relation to IEEE USA. And you can see what my service should be. Nelson Lorenco is on board this evening. Nelson, can I hear you? I thought I saw your name earlier.
So Nelson, you're a panelist.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, good.
Okay. Nelson's coordinating our employment and career services. Lee Stogner, I know that you're online. I saw your name earlier. Lee?
I just
Chime in.
unmuted you, Lee.
Hi, Lee's here.
Okay,
Lee.
he's listening or speaking while muted. He's our government activities coordinator. And Bailey Holford Heyman, I know I saw your name earlier.
Yeah, I'm here.
All righty. Oh, we're all here. Bailey is our Student Professional Awareness Coordinator. And we do have a vacant position, our STEM Educational Liaison. So anyone who might be interested in that position, send me an email. We also have on our line tonight a guest, the chair of the Coastal SC section, Derek Pack. And Derek, wave at us. Derek's gonna.
Hope everyone's having a good evening.
Good to have you, Derek. I have invited Derek to make a presentation tonight, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. But here's a little bit about the Professional Activities Committee responsibilities. Our job is to encourage you and to support you in ensuring the professional growth of the members at all levels. And so we're here to serve you, and we want to hear good things from you tonight because we have good things for you. We work with others in the region, with the other committees and others to encourage, develop, and nurture programs that stimulate interest in STEM, whether it's pre-college students, college students, working professionals. We're here to encourage you. We also submit the professional development financial report, and this I have not had an opportunity to do this year. So when I saw this, I kind of put a pin in that, Jill, and I'm thinking that you and John and I probably need to have a little discussion around that because I haven't seen any information with regards to that just yet. We also coordinate the work to optimize the effectiveness of professional activity. We are the interface with the region for federal, state, and local government entities, and of course, that's our own Lee. And then we want to encourage student branches to hold events to promote professional awareness. And all this information is coming from the Region 3 bylaws. And what we'd like for you to do, you've probably heard a lot about PACE and PAC, this committee in the past. But we'd like for you to reimagine this committee's role in your activities and PACE. We want to assist you with recommending, fostering, creating, and/or funding stimulating activities for your professionals and aspiring professionals. And I'm making bold now some key words because the next presentations are going to take on these topics. But as they speak, as they present, I want you to think about reimagining what we are doing. Jill has asked us to come up with some new events, but I'm going to push the envelope a little bit further and say, let's reimagine what we're doing. It's great to have these virtual meetings and conferences and sessions, but everyone's having virtual meetings, conferences, and sessions, and my ears are getting really tired of my headphones. So what can we do a little bit differently? Well, if you've had any online experiences, you know that content is king. You really need good content. So think differently as you hear the presentations tonight. And so what I'm going to do now is turn it over to Nelson. And what Nelson's going to present to you, I'm going to let him tell you all about it. But think differently, reimagine as you hear these presentations. Nelson will come up next, and then Derek will follow Nelson, and then Lee will follow Derek. And if Bailey would like to make a couple of comments, that'll be great too. Nelson, are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jacqueline. So As Jacqueline mentioned, we've been meeting a few times this year just to kind of think of new events that could spread awareness around Region 3 and kind of promote our charter of facilitating business development, outreach to students, and so forth. So one of the ideas I had, this actually stemmed off from an event that is pending for the Electron Device Society and Photonics Society. So I'm in Atlanta. I'm the chair of the EDS and Photonics Society. And we had an idea during a meeting of this business seminar. And I thought, hey, you know, we can go beyond Atlanta, and I think this could be a really cool Region 3 event. So if you go to the next slide. Okay. So the idea being is a rotating business series. So originally, I was thinking about Atlanta. We were thinking, you know, Atlanta, the innovation hub. We have an anchor school in Atlanta, Georgia Institute of Technology, as well as Georgia State University, and Emory, you know, a lot of really great schools there. And right near Georgia Tech, we have this like an innovation hub, like an accelerator for new businesses and startups. So the idea being, you know, we thought, could we bring in a few companies and have them talk about their business, their research, how IEEE fits into that? But then I got thinking bigger, and I thought, hey, we can go and actually start focusing on sub-regions. So the idea being moving around to different regions or sub-regions within Region 3, inviting CEOs or CTOs or even just like the directors of research or anybody from these really innovative companies to give speeches, and which would impact several folks. So for students, it would give them exposure to the environment there. For folks who are local to that subregion, for members, senior members, I mean, I'm always meeting new people and new companies around Atlanta, and kind of getting the big picture and how things connect and developing collaborations there. And while this was originally visioned to be a in-person event, because this is before COVID-19, this can grow and actually spread to across regions. So folks who maybe can't attend in person can still attend a virtual meeting of that and learn more about a subregion. So it kind of spreads awareness between the subregions. I feel like everybody knows their area really well, doesn't really know what's going on across the region, who are the big players, what is the late breaking news and everything. So that was my idea. So originally, you know, Atlanta was obviously what I first thought. We were going to be targeting something in summer. Obviously, that has happened because of COVID-19. I put August 2020 as an event for, say, the first meeting. Still need to work and get companies involved and making sure that we can have a meeting. It can be completely virtual if you need to. I'd like to have a hybrid in-person virtual to facilitate anybody who could come there in person and really meet these folks. I was just thinking, I know I've been to North Carolina Research Triangle. I know there were a lot of great schools there, great companies there. So that was another, this idea. These aren't, you know, these two areas aren't anything special, just two that first came to my mind. Obviously, in 2020, we might have a little bit of it might be tight to have more than just one or two. But the idea being, I think this could be an annual series that we move around, and if local chapters can work with their companies, work with schools, we can really create this a great series that would get folks who are already involved in IEEE excited about developments, and also potentially invite new folks to IEEE, understand how IEEE plays with their area and the research going on. Slide. Okay, so this is just going over goals and objectives. So as I said before, this type of event provides an opportunity to learn more about the business environment, particularly with STEM within IEEE subregion. So for Atlanta, I was thinking of, you know, I've been in Atlanta since 2004 when I first went to Georgia Tech as an undergrad. It's changed a lot since then. A history of tech startups, even just like a big picture of how things have changed, where things are going, will be really interesting. This idea is not in stone. We can change things around. We can bring in academic folks and kind of show how academic and business partnerships are developed. As I mentioned, this is useful for a wide variety of members, student members, senior members, even fellows can be involved, as well as non-members who just want to know more about local business. And with IEEE supporting this, they'll learn more about IEEE as well. I already mentioned holding a few events this year, potentially growing to something more annual, maybe 3 to 4 events a year, rotating across Region 3. And while this is focused on business, there's no reason why we couldn't expand this and maybe do a panel That can include not just business leaders, but academic researchers, even local and state government officials, anything involved with STEM research. So this was my idea. So I kind of pitched it out. Jacqueline liked it, and she wanted me to present it. So that's all I had in terms of a presentation.
Okay. So please hold your questions, but please be thinking about how we could imagine implementing this. And so I see a question just popped in. Okay, next up, Derek Pack. Derek is with Coastal SC. Welcome, Derek.
Well, hello again. So I think this is one of those timing things. Last week I submitted a PACE report, and Jacqueline sent me an email back probably the next day saying, "Hey, can you give me a call?" And so this set of slides got generated based upon that call. Coastal South Carolina, I think, hasn't submitted a lot of PACE requests, but we have a set of officers who are always interested in trying new things. And this actually was, some of those officers challenged me on a project that I'd been talking about for probably about a year, but hadn't actually put in action. So this is the PACE request I submitted because, all the officers in the section basically said, "You've been talking about this long enough, you should actually do something about it." So I give them credit for, this work actually getting done. Next slide. So our project goals, we wanted to find a STEM niche that no one else in the community had already filled. We wanted a project that we can grow with our membership and increase our community presence. And we wanted to find a project we could collaborate with other local engineering societies. Charleston has a lot of local engineering societies. They've actually formed a nonprofit organization called the Charleston Engineering Joint Council. So we probably meet on average once a month with probably at least a half dozen other engineering societies. So we share ideas back and forth. One of the common goals that many of us have are STEM projects. So next slide. Yeah. Because of the environment we live in, we chose cybersecurity. That is in part because we have a lot of organizations that have cybersecurity professionals who, in the area. There are a couple STEM events that already exist that are cybersecurity related. I've listed two, the Palmetto Cybersecurity Summer Camp, which really hits middle school level students, the Palmetto Cyber Defense Competition, which is high school level. There really wasn't anything in the area for elementary school programs. And so, we started searching, and we decided to focus on cyber safety. So next slide. Fortunately, we didn't have to build stuff from scratch. There is a nonprofit organization called the Center for Cyber Safety and Education. It is the nonprofit foundation of ISD Squared. I'm, full disclosure, I hold several cybersecurity certifications. One of them is with ISD Squared. So I get a big ton of mailers, kind of like, I get tons of mailers from IEEE. From ISD Squared, and one day I was paging through one and saw something about cybersecurity education. They had something interesting called Garfield Cyber Safety Adventures. When I talk about Garfield, I actually mean the cat. The makers of Garfield actually teamed with ISD Squared to develop a set of cyber safety curriculum for kids. And it's geared for our 6 to 11-year-olds. It teaches a set of cyber safety concepts. Each kit comes with everything you need to teach 30 students. They have 3 lessons right now, privacy, safety, and cyberbullying. 3 more are under development. It costs about $200 for all 3 lessons for 30 kids. What's interesting about this is that, when I say, they come with everything, the kits come with, lesson plans and curriculum guides, a discussion guide. There's a training video. There's a flash drive that has cartoons, worksheets, puzzles. There is actually a video that goes along with the materials. The kit also comes with 30 comic books, stickers, trading cards for the kids, privacy stickers to block out cameras, and even materials for parents, like welcome letters telling the parents about what their kids have learned. So it's pretty comprehensive. And actually, these kits have won awards from national teaching associations. So, next slide. So, what we did, we teamed with a local elementary school, and we agreed to provide the materials and help present them to the 3rd and 4th grade classes at that school. So the section purchased the materials for those lessons, and we started with the 4th grade classes this last January. And in February, we worked with the 3rd grade classes. We started with the 3rd grade classes and continued with the 4th grade classes. You can see the event totals there. So, on average, in touch points, we saw kids repeatedly. So, 2 IEEE members were consistently going out, meeting with the media specialists of the school, and probably, engaging on a semi-regular basis with about, 32 students. The 4th grade class completed 2 of the 3 cyber safety lessons before the pandemic. The 3rd grade class at least got the first one. Our events got put on hold, but the nice thing is I've been in contact with the media specialist at the school, and she will definitely be returning to the school next year. And she's also interested in continuing to partner with us on this program. So, next slide. And, if you're interested in the breakdown of the numbers, I have a slide on that, but I'm just going to jump to my last slide, please. Next slide. All right. So what next? Or go back one, please. Thank you. So what next, or what can I do, and what can we do during a pandemic? So the benefit here is, we found, instead of having to maintain the program fully ourselves, IEEE Squared and the Center for Cyber Safety and Education is there. They've been running with this for the last 5 to 7 years. So they've already been trying to pivot with the pandemic. They've been trying to launch a new program called Garfield at Home, and they're trying to do that this summer. So we're waiting for more details on that program. That might be something that, at the very least, we let our members know about, because they're at home with their kids, and they want to make sure their own kids are cyber safe. The Garfield in School program already has an online component, so that is something that we're reviewing. We don't know what schools are going to look like in the fall, but we do know that, we need to support our teachers, and so there are ways we can pivot this program to support the teachers, and we definitely are looking into it. In the interim, though, we also know that there are materials that are available to us, like a parent's presentation, a senior citizens presentation on cyber safety, and a youth presentation for 11 to 14-year-olds. And all of those materials, are available, can be used tomorrow if you want to have a virtual event. So, all of your members, all of our sections have members who are working professionals who have kids, who are, thinking through, I'm letting my kids spend more time online. And there may be a lot of traction in having a parent's presentation right now. Or, just saying, hey, you members have, parents who may need our senior citizen presentation. So, in the long term, this may be a great way to reach out to other societies. IEEE Squared actually has their own professional membership, and those professional memberships have chapters throughout the world. So this may be a great way for an IEEE section to team with the local IEEE Squared chapter in their area to do joint projects. I think that's all I got.
Okay. Thank you, Derek. Great.
No problem.
Great. And so again, we ask you to reimagine, what can the PACE Activities Committee help you accomplish? What type of PACE activity committees for engineers you might now consider in addition to some of the events you've held in the past. We want to make sure that we assist you with recommending, fostering, creating, and/or funding. We want to talk about funding, stimulating activities for your professionals and aspiring professionals. But before we talk about the funding aspect, Lee Stockner, we have an activity coming up.
Well, thank you all. PACE is a big part of my background. I was PACE chair in Region 3 for a while, and I was also vice president of PACE at IEEE USA. So, as you talk amongst yourselves, like on these meetings and other things, it's always good to find out what others are doing and also have done that can add extra ideas to what you're about to do. I'll give you two examples, and this is for Derek. STEM is always a big topic at IEEE USA. And in my role as the region's main interfacer to USA, we do a lot of discussions and plannings and also communications with Congress on the Hill regarding their STEM questions. So we're helping to guide the country's position and future in STEM. So what you're doing is very important. Connect better with me, and I'll tell you what we're doing in Washington. Another topic is cybersecurity. I happen to manage a cybersecurity magazine for the IEEE. It's updated every single day. And Derek, I will send you a link later on tonight to the magazine so you can share it with everyone that you're talking cybersecurity to, so they can track and monitor this magazine and learn all kinds of things from it. It's free, by the way. It's IEEE branded, and it's part of what we're doing for cybersecurity. One other topic you may be aware of is cybersecurity has an IEEE-wide initiative where a lot of really serious, deep thinking things are done in the name of cybersecurity. And again, I can make introductions between you and the team that's doing that. Now, back to my primary topic. In my interface role with IEEE USA, it's part government activities as well as representing Region 3 and several technology groups that are writing position papers and providing additional feedback to Congress. And what do we think about AI? What do we think about power and energy? What do we think about a number of tech issues that we as engineers hope to have as a part of our current job and future career? But these things are super expensive. And government has the ability to move mountains when it comes to what do we do next for energy or cybersecurity or other things. So again, I'm your interface. Let me know what questions I could answer. One of the things we've got coming up to help Region 3 stay in touch with and learn about what IEEE USA is doing for us in Washington is through our liaison in Washington at the IEEE office. His name is Russ Harrison. And working with Russ over the years, I've gone with him to meetings on the Hill with a variety of congressmen, both representatives and senators, to offer our help. And from a scope standpoint, we answer questions. We don't lobby. That keeps things very politically clean between the IEEE and Washington. So we have an event coming up June 23rd at 1 p.m. It will be WebEx based, like a webinar, and Russ will spend much of an hour telling you what's going on in Washington. Now, you may snicker and say, hey, I know what's going on in Washington. Actually, you don't. While the campaign for president is a part of the discussion, there's a lot of other things going on, things that deal with technology, engineering, and what we engineers simply need to know about in order to participate, provide our own guidance to Washington, and understand what the opportunities might be for us in our careers. So I'll be mailing out first thing tomorrow morning an invite to Region 3 to attend this event on June 23rd at 1 p.m. We think we've got it timed well to fit into an extended lunch hour for us working people, and you'll enjoy it. Russ has a masterful command of what's happening in the Hill. He knows all the right people, and he can give you a pretty good idea of how they think when it's this topic or that topic. So to represent Region 3, we all need to be a part of government relations and the discussion. And you, in partnership with Russ and myself, can be our ambassadors and local source of information at the section level for what are they doing or why did they do that? So I look forward to answering your questions. My email address is l.stogner, and Stogner spelled S-T-O-G-N-E-R, at IEEE.org. And if you want to do something at the section level, in this year virtually, regarding these technology issues or government relations, let me know. We'll create something that has a focus on Charleston or Birmingham or Greenville, where I live, because part of what we will do is understand where the jobs are locally in a section, and we'll speak to you. For example, if you're in Charleston, where a lot of jobs come via the military, or if you live in Greenville and a lot of jobs come via consulting or the process industry. So we'll make sure what you hear could be and can be, I don't want to say different than what Russ is going to say, but we'll make sure it has additional detail that will speak to you and your section if we do something locally for you. So let us know.
All righty.
Jacqueline, back to you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, can you still see my desktop?
We can.
Okay, great. So I'm not going to belabor, we are just about out of time, but I did want to share the process flow for requesting funding. And remember, this is going back to, we want to fund those stimulating activities that you would like to put together for your professionals and aspiring professionals. And we have many great ideas. And so if you're brainstorming or you're seeking ideas, if you heard something tonight that you'd like to adopt in your section, then reach out to us. Our contact information will be in this slide. And of course, you could always find this on the IEEE website. But this is the process for requesting funding if you need PACE funds to help you deliver your professional activity. And I could say that it starts with the questions. If you have an idea, you're not sure whether that idea is one that qualifies for funding, then shoot me an email. We could talk about it or make a call. And so it starts with the question. We can brainstorm. We can tweak it a little bit. And there is a form. You've all seen it now. You can make that request, submit that request, and that submission will be done by your section chair. And put all the details you can in your request, okay? And then just move through the process. You will be reimbursed up to $1,500 per activities. So if you're asking, can I have more than one activity, the one section? The answer is yes. So this is the flow. Study it later when you get this, or I can send this PowerPoint ahead to you. Currently, we have a budget of $11,300 annually. We've pretty much exhausted a good chunk of that. We still have a little over $3,500 still available. We have no cancellations of folks who've requested early for these funds. If they were not online or virtual activities, they are now rethinking, reimagining those activities to be virtual activities. But there perhaps may be some options also for additional funding. And we're just beginning that conversation, but keep your requests coming. Don't hesitate because you think maybe the funds are gone. We can still help you. I will still work with you. But think about what you can do in this time and throughout the rest of the year. Let us worry about the budget. Think about virtual experiences. Again, and I said it earlier, rich content. You've got to keep the attendance and the attention of your participants. So thus far, we've had K-9 STEM school requests, elementary magnet school, and you saw Derek's wonderful presentation tonight. We've got requests pertaining to higher education, senior member banquet, senior member roundup. But come on, let's get creative. Let's reimagine what we can do, okay? And I know you've been holding your questions, so Bill, can you give us those questions so we can answer those questions that have come through?
Yes. So Jill posted a question. Let me scroll back here. First to Nelson. If a section would like to have one of these events in their section, what do they need to do, who to contact, what info to provide, and how you can help to them? And Nelson did reply back. It's still in a preliminary phase. And I have, it's a very narrow scroll window and it's moving now. Let's see what he said. In fact, tell you what, Nelson, do you want to go ahead and answer Jill however you want to at this point?
And it's all panelists, but then I responded a message to you, so you might have seen it. But yeah, it's still in the really preliminary phase. We're kind of just going just from the EDS Society to this, just kind of recent. So I think getting together an event guide would be useful. I think setting up that Atlanta event is going to be really useful to kind of just go through and get a better understanding at an event of this kind of size. You know, I think in terms of Region 3, once these events start, you know, once we get a few events, I think I'd like to have the folks who hosted those events or got them together to be willing to just offer support to the next round of people. So I think it's a building a living document, documenting what we've done, what worked, what didn't work, contacts for previous events, stuff like that would be useful. So that's going to come. Obviously, like I said, setting up this first event is going to be kind of the big one. So stay tuned, I guess. And but if anybody has feedback or input, please let me know, because I'd like to bring that in while this is still fresh in my mind and I start working on this.
I'd like to add to that the region will soon release its new website, and I've already sent feedback to Jill with regards to the website. We'd like to have a page on that website where we can put this kind of information regarding our activities, our schedule, lessons learned, etc. So we'd like to have all this information along with photos from your PACE activities. Derek has submitted photos from the activities conducted in Charleston. We have those photos, and we're going to put those on the site as well. Okay, next question.
So the next question also was from Jill, and it was to Derek. Can you provide a summary of how to run one of these cybersecurity events from start to finish, including the timeline?
And sure, it is easy enough. One of the benefits of the materials that we're using is they make it really easy to be a volunteer. So I'll put that together and try to get it back to the region before the next region meeting.
Great.
Okay. So, and Mark Torres, did you want to add anything regarding funding? Let's see where Mark.
Is there a question regarding funding?
No, did Mark? Did you have Mark? I've just unmuted you. Did you have anything you wanted to bring from an IEEE USA perspective about funding?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure Jacqueline knew that the first half funding will be released in the next couple of weeks. So you'll be seeing that transferred into the region account for the first half of the year. And it's coming with a strong suggestion that it be used for student and YP engagement to really promote renewal of membership, because of the concern that there's going to be a fall off in membership due to, I'll say, inactivity, and the fact that students at universities are not maybe in a virtual environment and need to try, excuse me, need to try to give them a reason to want to re-up their membership for the fall.
Great. So I'll look forward to receiving that information, and anything that you have in advance, if you shoot that my way, that I'll take a look at that, so I'll be prepared. But interestingly enough, I've received a couple of calls from universities who are seeking content and engagement of IEEE to help them with just that mission. How to hold
Yeah.
attention and get the students active during this virtual world that they're now living in, that they're not really accepting very well. So that more is coming from this committee. I can assure you of that. The universities
we do have two things that we're working on. They're still in the planning stages, but should have them kind of scoped out in the next couple of weeks. One of those is focused on YP type of activities, or I guess you would say topics. But of course, a series of topics for YPs and a series of topics for students. So we'll be passing that information along as soon as we firm up the plans.
Okay, great. Well, let us know. I'm looking forward to that. Let's reimagine, folks. Are there any other questions?
That was it, Jacqueline. So,
Okay.
any last thing? I just want to thank you and your team for your presentation tonight, and then I want to thank Eric for his presentation earlier. And I want to thank everyone who called in tonight. And just to repeat something, I did about halfway through Jill's introductory comments. Remember to start the record button for this. So from middle of Jill through Eric and Jacqueline and her team, this webinar has been recorded. We will be making it available by the end of the month for streaming or for download, and we'll be collecting the slides. So hope everyone can join us next week when Kristen Bing will talk about chapters and affinity groups and other subunits, and I'll be talking about outreach. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, and have a pleasant evening, and good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.